All right, we're live. Road Trip Podcast.
What's going on, world?
We got Cal in the back, Ben to the side, but Ben's focused. He's the driver here. He's got a big responsibility.
Got 3 souls on board.
Yep, but driving to Houston. The Woodlands.
More like 2 souls.
Eh? You put on these headphones so I can hear you, Cal.
Yeah, we're having a conversation when your back is facing towards me. Real disrespectful.
Appreciate you guys tuning in. Hopefully this is an entertaining episode because, you know, road trips are always good conversation times.
Mm-hmm.
See me?
Yeah, I zoomed out to the 0.5.
Oh, nice.
I can hear you,
You can
loud
do that.
and clear, Cal.
You can do that in videos.
Yeah.
That's
I
pretty cool.
did that for the last video, and that's why the video quality wasn't that good overall, but yeah.
I gotcha.
I want to ask you a question.
Me?
I'm talking to both y'all.
Okay.
Sabrina Carpenter,
Oh.
new album cover. Did you see it, Ben?
I saw your Instagram. Yeah, look, there's that 18-wheeler right up there.
18-wheeler popped a tire.
That's what that loud noise was?
That's what.
Thought they was shooting.
We're not in Houston yet.
Soto just got astray. So, what was your question, Jack?
What'd you think about the Sabrina Carpenter album cover, Man's Best Friend?
Well, I didn't really see it until you posted it on your Instagram, and obviously Sabrina's a public figure, a star, some people might say, and you know she is under a lot of controversy for some of her antics and her performances, and some of her music is very, you know, sexual and, you know, age appropriate, you could say. But it doesn't really bother me necessarily, personally, but I can see how it can affect other people.
Did you see it, Ben?
I did see it. Sabrina Carpenter's, a lot of her lyrics in her song, not a lot, but some of the lyrics in her songs are very anti-men. Even in her music videos, she's like in a pool, hot tub, and there's 2 pigs in the pool with her, and she's like, you know, referring to them as men or boys.
Wow, I did not know that.
And it's just like this man-hating lyric stuff that seems to really click with a lot of these women who are probably depressed, low self-esteem. It's kind of like somewhat of it's almost on the other spectrum of the Taylor Swift stuff. Like, Taylor Swift isn't necessarily like anti-men in her lyrics. It's kind of love, breakup, shit talk like that. But yeah, Sabrina, she belongs to the streets.
Yeah, it's interesting take. She's kind of like the dark Taylor Swift maybe, but you know, the cover's her on her knees getting her hair pulled, and she's like on her knees like with her butt up. Well, the next picture, I think the album track list is a picture of a dog with its collar on.
What's the name of the album?
Man's Best Friend.
So she's calling herself a dog? Or is she saying that there's like an ownership thing to relationships?
Well, I had a girl talk to me on Instagram, and she was like, no, everyone's misunderstanding this. She's actually making a point about how men view her or in other women.
Like we view them as dogs?
Yeah, like we own them. And
Like, just be our best friend and like don't speak when spoken to.
do what you're told.
What's the problem with that?
What do you think about that, Cal?
I really have no comment, but I know Devin listens to Sabrina Carpenter a lot, And I mean, I've heard a few of her songs like that she's played in the car, and they're not bad. But I can see where, yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure she's a Fortnite skin too, so she's obviously popular among the youth. And I can see where, the photo of her album cover or whatever, and some of her antics and music videos could be controversial for younger audiences that listen to her music and stuff. But other than that, I don't really have a problem with it.
Yeah, I think like in her defense, like she doesn't have to like consider that there are kids listening to her music, right?
Yeah, I don't think she does.
She can make music for whatever she wants. I just think as an outsider, the messaging of I really am confused of the messaging, and it kind of, I wonder if other kids get confused when they see a star, Sabrina Carpenter, like in this derogatory, sexualized way. Do they think that's cool? I just start to think about the responsibility of an artist.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue the same thing with male and female artists. Like, I kind of think of Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B and like those types of people is like, the music became so popular it didn't really matter what radio or thing you're listening to.
Oh, Dad's calling me right now.
You're gonna hear WAP or
What's up, Dad? We're doing a podcast in the car right now, driving to Houston. Yeah, Ben's driving.
Can barely hear him on the headphones. We forgot your clubs.
No, she didn't give me one.
But yeah, you're right, Ben. It's like they got so popular, like you were exposed to it no matter what. And those are women. Whereas like you think about like Migos or name any rapper that raps about like drugs, sex, alcohol, and glorifies it. Yeah. Doing drugs, getting fucked up.
you could even argue Drake in there too.
Yeah, Drake. I feel like Drake's more greed and money and
if not,
status, but yeah. It's interesting because I don't keep up with Sabrina Carpenter, but I'll see her on my Explore page, and it's always like her ass is out. She's always half naked.
Apparently she's like tiny too. She's like 5 foot something, like 5'2".
Oh, you would know that. But, do you remember Addison Rae?
Addison Rae, was she the TikTok star?
Yeah, she got famous during COVID.
Yeah.
It's like Austin Guevara's crush.
okay.
That's weird.
But she's a music star now.
Huh? She's a music star?
Dude, I came across her Instagram profile, and all of her photos, it's her ass.
How am I supposed to comment on that?
But it's like, I was listening to Candace Owens, and she was talking about this, which kind of led me to look at the post and whatnot, but she's like, I grew up listening to Whitney Houston and all these artists that actually had talent and that their voice was so captivating.
Yeah.
And then they play a Sabrina Carpenter song, and she's like mumbling and like talking, and then she's showing her butt everywhere. It's like,
Yeah, do these people really have any musical talent, or is it they're using auto-tune and their image while they're, hot and popular? It's like, well, I might as well start making music. Like, I think Charlie D'Amelio did the same thing. You remember her? The D'Amelios? It's like, okay, you're not a music star. So, put down the microphone, pick up an apron.
get off. But it makes me think about like the conversations we've had about, are these artists actually good, or are they being pushed by another agenda and maybe they sold their soul?
Oh, what time are you landing?
I wouldn't say sold their soul. They probably have an agent who's like, hey, let's really maximize. Because maybe they don't even think about musical talent. It's just like, hey, you're hot right now. Like, everyone's searching you up, everyone's watching your content. Let's go ahead and make something that you can, get royalties off of, which would be, oh shit, traffic.
Yeah, you're right, because I guess it is smart in that aspect, taking advantage of the eyeballs on you.
Yeah.
But
We just left, so we're still kind of in Mansfield.
on another note, I was thinking about it. I'm like, our kids are going to come back and watch these podcasts.
Yeah. We've talked about that before.
A catalog, like when we're like 90 years old and we've got grandkids, they're like, what was Uncle Ben like? And they go on YouTube, listen to his take on COVID. What'd Dad say back there, Cal?
He was just talking about my check-in to the hotel and picking him up from the airport later.
Nice.
Are you going to need my car?
Gonna need a car, yeah. It can be yours or Mom's.
No one's ever driven this except for me.
He also said that before y'all go check in to your hotel, you need to let me go check in first. They're only like a couple minutes away from each other. So.
Cool.
All right, let's go back to the Sabrina Carpenter. Dude, that mic is up my nose.
Do you want to hold a mic?
No. So you're going to have to deal with it.
Sabrina Carpenter. I mean, Cal, what are some of the controversial things she's done? Because you said that earlier.
I mean, I don't really know exactly. I just the photo that you were just talking about, her album cover, what Ben said about the pigs in the pool, and obviously she's just. I'm pretty sure she was on some like SNL or her live show where she was just being like super sexual on stage or something. And I saw it surface on Twitter. But, yeah, that's all I really know about her.
Yeah, because it's kind of like some people say this is a good thing. Women need to be proud of their bodies, and they shouldn't feel shame for showing how, attractive they are to other people. It's like feminism 2.0.
Yeah, but it's like you can't show something and then when people react to it, be upset that they react to it.
There's a good puller.
That's true.
The whole sexualization of, this feminist movement right now with, free the nips and all this stuff. And it's like...
That's still a movement?
It used to be hard to get that type of content. Like, it wasn't accessible. And now it's like everyone is sexualizing themselves. And then when you respond to that or treat them as that, it's like, they get upset. Is that warranted?
I don't think it is, but I think it is.
You shouldn't be gross and like rude, but it's like if Sabrina Carpenter is showing her butt and people say she's got a nice butt, and then someone responds, why are you talking about that? Should be talking about her music. I'm like, well, I don't care about it. Yeah, it's like, you find what you like, and it's not like I'm jamming to Sabrina Carpenter. She's not making music for me.
Yeah, that's the point. And she's making music for, I think I looked up the demographics of her audience on ChatGPT.
Why are you getting over?
It merges to one lane, I think.
I don't think it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First incident caught on camera.
Dash cam. Code blue cam. Her audience, Sabrina Carpenter's fan base, is nearly equally split between Gen Z and millennials. So Gen Z is roughly ages 10 through 25, and millennials are 26 through 41. So we're millennials.
Yeah.
Cal, you're Gen Z.
I think I'm technically a Gen Z.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means, but
There's like Gen X and Gen Y and Gen Alpha. I think
I'm Gen
or
Alpha.
Gen Beta. There's a Gen Beta.
that's what you're thinking. Gen Beta.
So I guess a question I would have for y'all about Sabrina's music. I mean, how much different is it than, a rapper or a male artist who is sort of singing about the same things, just kind of opposite, having bitches on my dick and bitch this, bitch that.
Whoa.
I mean,
Rated
maybe
R.
that's the music I'm listening to. You know what I'm saying? Just like, there's a lot of artists who rap like that. I mean, Logic has some bars that are similar, just talking about things like that. And
That's a good point, yeah. Maybe I'm a little hypocritical. when it
yeah, I
comes
think
to
you
that.
gotta look at it from both angles, both sides, because, I mean, a lot of the music I listen to has a lot of derogatory stuff about women, unfortunately.
But why do you listen
I
to
don't.
that music?
I mean, it's not. I'm choosing to listen to it. It's just like if I like an artist who, it's a catchy beat, a catchy song, and he happens to say something about that, and one of his bars. So what?
So how you don't really care? How does it make you feel that he would say something like that?
Like, I guess who I'm really thinking of when I say this is like 21 Savage. He's a pretty good example of, if you listen to some of his songs, like, you can tell that there's a lot of stuff in there that's about just, fucking bitches, getting money, all that sort of stuff.
What do you think?
Do y'all know do you know what I'm saying though?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I wouldn't say that's. I think everyone probably goes through a phase of the hip hop and rap. Some may stick in that longer, but I mean, yeah, I used to listen to Drake and Future, and I mean, I still listen to Drake, but like, yeah, the Future.
Yeah, Future's a good
Migos,
example.
Offset, those types of people. But then you kind of graduate into stuff that's maybe a little bit more poetic or lyrically focused, like a J. Cole or a Logic or a Russ, where they're not getting rich off of these hype songs where they're talking about sex, money, and drugs. It's telling a story of something that you can ultimately relate to some degree. That's why all the Logic stuff is so good. But yeah, you're right. He does have a few songs where it's talking about the Sin City.
Yeah, that's all I was trying to say was it's definitely both male and female artists do it just as equal.
Yeah, you're right. And I've kind of been critical of that, but there are times where I will listen to that type of music, and it gets me feeling a certain type of way. But I agree with what Ben said. You kind of will go through phases, and you might graduate from listening to that style of music when it just that time is right for you, and you start thinking about what you're listening to a little bit more. But there's that's part of hip hop culture, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, all that stuff is, and then the conspiracy theorists come out talking about how hip hop was created by the CIA.
I have heard that. I mean,
Puts the mic right in Ben's.
I mean, some of these music
Wait.
labels.
So the CIA created. What you're saying is the CIA created hip hop?
Well, there's they call them industry plants,
Ah.
which it might not be the CIA, but it could just be the record labels. But they'll pick someone like Lil Nas X, where he creates that one first song, Old Town Road, and it's a family. It's a family-friendly song. It's a good song.
That was a time
How
to be
does that
alive.
go?
Gonna take my horse to the old town road.
Billy Ray.
Yeah.
But then what I'm saying is that's the hook. Yeah, that's the hook. They get all the fans and all the kids on a clean song, and then he has a music video where the devil's taking him from behind.
Yeah, and I think Nike did a collaboration with him on these shoes that had blood on them and stuff.
Saw that.
You're right. There's definitely I definitely think there's some influence coming from some powerful people in the shadows that force musical artists to continue rapping about things that are divisive, that are problematic, that aren't super positive. And I think, I don't want to speak out of turn because I don't really have the evidence right in front of me, but I've definitely seen interviews of former artists or people that have kind of defected maybe to building their own music label who've talked about the predatory practices of these, major music labels that hey, you're going to keep rapping about killing people and you're going to keep rapping about the drugs and the sex because that's what we're paying you for. That's what music you're going to make. And if that's what people are hearing all the time, those kids that listen to that want to be that. It's just not, it's not good.
Yeah, it's not good.
Like, what would someone continuing to listen to, like, NBA Youngboy or like a Lil Baby? It's like what would make you want to like continue listening to that?
I don't think that's fair. It's just music. At the end of the day, it's just music. Like, everybody has their own taste.
But
Yeah, but if you're listening to music that's saying, yeah, kill, murder,
Although,
toting
again,
guns, doing drugs,
yeah,
slapping bitches, it's like you can't say that's just music.
I mean, you can, but it's also, that's not the majority of their music. Like, that's not all they're rapping about. But I get what you're saying. Like, majority, like Lil Baby and especially NBA Youngboy definitely have a, persona about them when it comes to rapping and what they rap about. But
yeah, he's rapping about the people that he killed.
yeah, and he's in jail for the rest of his life. I never got down with Tay-K, and it never clicked with me like, oh, I'm gonna jam this guy's song when he's talking about killing someone and running from the cops. Like, why would I listen to that? But I think that maybe it's sort of like a lot of these youth come up in that environment of like gang activity and things like that, where they can relate to it a little bit, and they probably had no father figure, so then they looked up to the kingpin of the gang.
Yeah, there's definitely truth to that. I mean, if you're listening to an artist and you know their songs lyric by lyric, like, you feel like you're a part of that community.
Yeah, but I kind of disagree with you, Cal, when you say it's just music, because it's something that music does something to you. You listen to it and it like touches you in a way that it's so special. That's why people love music so much. And I'm not saying they should get rid of hip hop at all, but I don't know. There's some odd going on with it, in my opinion. Care to rebuttal?
nah, yeah, I mean, I agree.
No, but
I don't know if maybe I didn't mean music is just music, because I agree it definitely has a purpose and it touches a lot of people and can bring you back to certain parts and memories of your life. That's kind of how I think of music. Like, can bring you back to like the first time you've heard a song.
Yep.
Like, when I think of what song is it? It's probably like Myself by Nav. That's like one of my favorite songs ever, and like it takes me back to like anytime I hear it now, it's like takes me back to when I was a kid and like the first time listening to it and be like, man, this song is so good, and listening to it before like AAU basketball games and football games and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think about White Iverson, Post Malone. Austin showed me that one on SoundCloud, and I was like, dang.
Oh yeah, SoundCloud.
Yes, a lot of people are upset at Post Malone because they're saying he like capitalized on the hip hop culture and then ditched it to become a country artist.
Yeah, I hear that, and
It's like that doesn't really resonate with me.
Do y'all like his country music?
I think he's just really talented. So it's like whatever kind of music he wants to make, I think is. You can argue the same stuff about Beyonce. That seemed like there was a lot of pushback with her on her country music album that I think was nominated for some things, but it's like she's just a talented artist. It's like I don't think you got to keep people in these categories of. It's like, well, you made one rap album, so you got to stay with rap. It's like, just make music.
yeah, I agree with that. It's like they do this with Logic. Logic talks about it a lot, where he's like, I make this one lyricist album, like the Young Sinatra album, and the boom bap trap fans will hate it. Yeah. And I'll make the pop music, and then all the OG Rat Pack fans will hate it,
Yeah.
So you can't please everyone. But I think Post Malone is so talented, and he switched lanes to country, and I liked a couple of the songs, but I can get why people don't feel like it's authentic country, that he isn't really like that. But
who's also to say that White Iverson is like, it's like, it's not like it's kind of slow. It's not like an upbeat rap song. Like it's kind of more.
Yeah, I feel like all of his
R&B.
music is like pop and R&B.
Yeah. So,
besides his country stuff.
Like unless Post Malone came out and he was like, I am a hip hop rap artist, makes that song, does well. It's like, now I'm a country art. You know, it's like, I don't think he's saying those things. And I think if someone is like thinking that hard about it, like, get off your keyboard, like go get some sunlight.
It reminds me, like what you said earlier about the predatory record label deals, where like you sign a contract when you're 18 years old and you're popping for like 10 albums, and like maybe it's $1 million, and that's like, holy shit, that's $1 million. But 10 albums later, it's like you've amassed billions of streams, and you're kind of not seeing any of that money because you don't own your own music. It's like a form of selling out early, but it reminds me of those Drewski sellout records skits. Have you seen those? The tryouts?
Could have been records.
Could have been records. That's what it's called.
Yeah, I've watched a few. Probably one of those on YouTube.
Dude, Drewski's
They're
so
funny.
funny. He kills me. Where are we? Where are we? Where are we? There's a lot of Ram trucks around. Well, what do y'all want to talk about? We got 3 hours to go.
You didn't write down any more topics, host?
Well, I actually do have a couple topics that shout out to Devin. Devin sent some topics in,
Yes, sir.
and they're actually
Thanks,
really,
Devin.
really good. Okay, so I guess we could start with nature versus nurture argument.
Pick a side.
Nature versus I mean, what's the debate?
Well, do you think, I guess we could just kind of continue on the topic of hip-hop culture. Like, do you think those kids are born, like, wanting to be, like, a gangbanger and, like, that's in their blood? Or do you think it's their environment?
I'd go environment. I mean, you start off as a toddler who doesn't know anything, and then it's exposure.
Okay, well, how about this? What if you're the son of a super athlete couple? Do you think you inherit anything from that?
Yeah, genetics.
Like, what types of things would you inherit from your super athlete parents?
Well, I mean, you get their genes, and typically professional athletes are pretty genetically gifted, so pass that down to the offspring. I mean, that's why Bronny James, right? LeBron. Well, there's so many athletes.
So then, like, if you were born to parents that were just like the guy, the youngest billionaire ever, he was born to two physicist parents that were like elite physicists at Los Alamos Labs in New Mexico, and he becomes the youngest billionaire ever. Like, his parents definitely like cultured the environment of him to learn and pick up all these skills, arithmetic and science and all this stuff. But was there anything genetic in that, do you think?
I think so, yeah. I mean, IQ, like, I don't think if you have two low IQ parents, I don't think they can have a high IQ child. So if the parents are smart and they strong brains, develop brains, like, I certainly see how that could be passed down to their kid.
What do you think, Cal?
Yeah, I agree. I guess it's harder to think about how how smart you are could be passed down. Like, I don't know if that's genetics or DNA of how smart you can be, because I feel like knowledge is gained through like exploring and kind of doing your own research. And so yeah, you could be the son of two scientists or really smart people, but if you don't apply yourself and seek to learn, you're not gonna live up to those expectations, I feel like. But athletic wise, I definitely, like, if both your parents are you know, 6'5", whatever, great athletes, you're more than likely going to be similar build at some point and have those physical traits that they had as well.
Yeah, I agree. That is true, because you could have, like, you could be gifted in a lot of ways, but you might not ever, like, utilize those gifts.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. Like, you think about the girl, like, the 5'10", like, 6'1", volleyball girl, but she hates volleyball. Like, is she disregarding her gift?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's more about potential, athletic potential, because it's like you can have the build, but if you don't develop the skill, then it's like you just have the build. So, like, think of like a Caitlin Clark. Like, she's not big. You know, she's not super muscular, super jacked, tall, anything, but she developed her skill. So, like, her parents maybe not even played a sport, you know, who knows? But, like, if you teach someone from a young age and they become a master at that, like, you know, then that's where talent and skill, you know, supersede athletic ability, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm thinking of another example, like when you said you can't have two dumb parents make like a genius kid. I wonder what Lil Baby's parents are like. Because have you seen the Lil Baby documentary?
I have not.
I have.
I didn't even know there was one.
No, are you talking about, what was it on, Hulu?
I think it was on Amazon.
Or, yeah, Amazon, yeah. I've watched that a few times.
Apparently,
it's pretty good.
He's a genius. Like, he would never study. He would just pass his tests. Did you remember that part?
I mean, no. I saw it a couple years ago.
He's a genius?
Yeah, he didn't study at all. He was a straight A student. And then he makes a business and makes music and becomes insanely wealthy. And I'm pretty sure he grew up in the trenches.
Yeah,
but
he
you
did.
can't base someone's intelligence off of grades. I think that's where we steer wrong. There's a lot, and that goes into the titles and credentials. Like, meritocracy is a lot more important than having a label just because you did something, I guess.
Yeah, well, maybe it's not just school, but like his ability to generate money and become super wealthy. Do you think that shows his intelligence?
Yeah, I mean, you have to learn those things, and, you know, it's not easy. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it. So, yeah, like, you can have intelligence in some realms and be ignorant in others. Like, I think that's okay. Like, the smartest person in the room is not the smartest on everything. It's probably just one subject, and then there's someone who's also really intelligent on one subject. So,
Good point. Yeah, think about like Elon Musk. He's very intelligent in a lot of ways, but then in other ways he's got a lack of social intelligence, and he rubs people the wrong way.
Yeah.
So,
like, with all these music artists, like, how many of them can produce? Yeah. How many of them can produce? How many of them can direct? How many of them can cut music, like, there's teams of people that do this stuff. Like, you know, someone who's really good at making music is not probably the best at producing music. Yeah. So it's like you have to leverage your strengths. I think that's something I've been talking about recently with our team at work. It's like leverage your strength. Like, yeah, you can develop your weaknesses, but it's really hard to have A's in 10 things. Like, if you can have an A in 2 or 3, like, that's pretty damn good. And then get B's and develop the C's into B's. And I feel like everyone's trying to be great at everything. It's like, find your skill, leverage your skill, and get better at that.
that's a good take. I was gonna say that, like, it's probably really difficult to sing, to produce, to write lyrics and all that stuff, and that makes me think of, like, Russ is the guy who did all of that, and now he's like one of the most successful independent musicians in the game.
Like, think of like a Steph Curry, best 3-point shooter ever.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah, he was great in other areas on the court, but, like, if he just, you know, once he got really good at his three-point, he's like, okay, well, now let me just focus on this, then he wouldn't be the same player that he is.
Yeah, and his dad played in the NBA for a while.
Brother played.
Yeah, so he had the mix of nature and nurture, for sure.
What about the Ball family? Lonzo, LaMelo, LiAngelo. I mean, that's an interesting documentary of. That's definitely I'm going to nurture these kids from the very beginning to become professional athletes. The dad didn't play.
No. What do you think about that, Cal? The Ball family.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit more nurture than nature. I don't think the dad played professionally, but I used to keep up with them a lot when I was growing up in like junior high and high school. And I'm pretty sure both their parents were athletes, like probably I know LeVar played football, and I think the mom was probably she was pretty tall too.
Or basketball.
So she's probably some sort of athlete at some point. But yeah, if you've watched those documentaries of LeVar and, you know, when they were younger, he was, you know, on their ass about, you know, you're not going to make it if you keep acting like this and that, and, you know, really pushing them to the extent, and having Jello and LaMelo go overseas and play, skip college, and, you know, he was doing the best to nurture them into the NBA, and got 2 out of 3 there. Jello only played in the G League, I think, but still pretty impressive to see.
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of crazy because there's so many ways to raise a kid, you know? Like, you could be really hard on them, and it sounds like LeVar was hard on them, but maybe not to the extent of, like, you hear about Serena and Venus Williams' parents. Have you heard of them? They were super hard on them. Yeah, that was a movie Will Smith did. He played their parent, and or the dad, and he, you know, forced them to play and all this stuff, and turns out to be, Serena's like the greatest of all time, apparently. So I don't know. It makes me think about our dad too, because, you know, he didn't force us to play baseball or anything. Like, when we didn't want to, he let us do what we wanted to do, which I appreciated that. So there's so many ways to do it, but it just makes me think.
Do you know much about? I mean, Tiger Woods' dad was like. I mean, me and Cal watched like a 40-minute thing over his 2000 season where he won 9 tournaments, which is the most ever. He won 3 major championships that year. But his dad was like super obsessed with getting him to be the best, and would do this technique because it was more about building the mental toughness. That's what Tiger said. Like, he felt like his mental game was the best ever. And whenever they go to the range, his dad would always talk on his backswing and always make noises in his backswing and always call, like, you know, try to get his attention during his backswing. And it pissed Tiger off. He hated him for it, but it got him to the point where he's like, I'm just locking into this. And, like, I think that's why. I mean, think of all the high pressure stuff you got to do as a professional athlete. Making free throws while the crowd's screaming at you.
Yeah.
Like, that's being able to hit or throw a pitch, a strike, you know, all those different things. Like, you have to, you got to be weathered to.
Yesterday was
a
great example of, you know, the pressure getting to you. We were watching the Arkansas LSU game. I mean, back-to-back, you know, I wouldn't say
errors.
The first one where the shortstop threw it to third when he could have got the double play. That's questionable. You know, he was getting the lead out, but had a chance to turn 2 to end the game. And the commentators were talking about, you know, the pressure doesn't just fall on the pitcher in those moments. You know, the pressure's on everybody because, you know, the ball can be hit anywhere. Yeah. And as a college athlete, you know, you haven't really been in those high leverage situations, you know, high stress environments of, you know, that type of level of play. And so you could definitely see that last night with, you know, that play by the shortstop, and then the next play.
He was the Golden Spikes nominee, which is like top 3 best college baseball
Yeah,
players in
and
the country.
then you put him in that,
Wahiwa
that sort of scenario in the game, bottom of the 9th, and you just got to get 2 more outs, and you saw it happen. I mean, the left fielder misreads the ball that's hit at him, trips, hits him in the shoulder, and they tie the game up. Next batter, another error maybe. Guy didn't time his jump up well, wasn't ready for the moment, and just like that, they win, and now they're in the finals. And so,
I mean, what would you say is like the biggest professional choke? Like, I think of like the J.R. Smith.
I think of the
Not
3-1
knowing
finals choke that the greatest team of all time
Yeah,
had.
but think of more of like a singular moment.
Oh, a singular moment?
Like the J.R. Smith not knowing how much time was on the clock and what the score
Yeah,
was.
that
in
was
a finals
crazy.
game. That's
I
really
think
bad.
the Seahawks Patriots interception at the goal line.
But that's not. That wasn't like a mistake. Like,
Yeah,
they
it
called
was.
the wrong play. The guy made an amazing play. But the Patriots, Malcolm Butler they talked about. Can't remember the NFL Films guy. They had prepared. They talk about this in like a documentary about that Super Bowl. Like, they prepared for that exact play multiple times of exactly what Malcolm Butler was going to do if they lined up in that stack position on the goal line. Like, he knew what was happening. And so that's like the preparedness of like, I'm envisioning myself in this moment. Here's the play that I make.
But how is that not a choke? It was
Well, no
they're
one.
on the 1
I
yard
mean, it
line.
wasn't like
It's different.
Russell Wilson just threw it to the guy. Like, he jumped the play.
Yeah, it's different because it's not like someone
It was a
lost
team.
the
It was
game.
a team choke.
Someone came out and made the play on the defense versus
Yeah, but
an error.
you got
or
Marshawn Lynch.
dropping the ball.
You just hand the ball off to him.
I would argue that the 28-3 Falcons choke is way worse than that.
Oh yeah, I would.
That's
agree.
like accumulation of multiple plays that you're taking a sack on 3rd down. Like, stuff that was so obvious in the moment of like, hey, we're winning this game. We just can't do this. And it's like they did 5 of those things in a row, and the Patriots came back and greatest Super Bowl of all time.
Yeah, that was
really.
wild.
I mean, that's that 28-3 with what, like 3 minutes left in the third.
something like that.
Like, that's the greatest comeback of all time.
What do you think goes on in the head of like the Falcons defense? Like, do you think at that point when they're up 28-3 that they've got the game in the bag?
Well, so there's another interesting, there's like a short film on the game, on that Super Bowl, the comeback, and they're up, and they're all talking on the sideline. We got to keep going. Like, it's Tom Brady. Like, we got to keep going. And it's like, all right, we got to do this. And on the Patriots sideline, it's like, all right, let's just get the next one. Like, let's just focus on the next possession, and because you can't think, man, we got to score 21. It's like, hey, we got to score 7 here. We got to get a field goal. We got to put ourselves in the position to be able to win the game versus just trying to win the game in the third quarter.
Yeah, it's hard to. You said something good there. You can't score 28 points or 25 points on one play, on one touchdown. It's hard to like think that way when you're down a lot, but you just got to take it one play at a time and try to get some points on the board, and hopefully defense gets some stops, which obviously the Patriots did in that game, and their offense got going, and there you go. It's over now.
Yeah, it's like each one of us has experienced some sort of like pressure situation, whether it be like in football, baseball, basketball. At any level, there's some sort of pressure in any sort of situation. And, that feeling is like uncomfortable for sure. And then you can see how someone like J.R. Smith in that game 1 of the finals against the Warriors, when there's just so much pressure, they have a chance to win the game. They grab the rebound, and
He misses the rebound or he misses the free throw first.
and then J.R. Smith grabs the rebound.
Was it George Hill?
Yeah.
George Hill missed it.
George Hill missed it, and then J.R. Smith grabs it and seemingly doesn't know what the score is. He doesn't realize that they're down, and he's trying to hold the ball, and he dribbles it out to half court. Last second passes to LeBron, and the game's...
LeBron's like, give me the ball.
I would have been.
Tied. I think they went into overtime.
Yeah, it was overtime.
They were tied. Okay, well, that makes it better. If they would have lost the game on that, that'd been even worse.
Well,
But
one of my favorite sports comebacks is the 2004 ALCS, Red Sox versus Yankees. Yankees had just won like 3 championships in 4 years. The previous year, they walked off the Red Sox in the ALCS to go to the World Series, and they're down 3-1 against what seems to be the greatest team ever assembled. And they win that game. I mean, their backs against the wall. They win the game. And Kevin Millar, who was playing first base, he's, everyone counted him out. And he talks to one of the reporters, journalists for the Boston Globe. Can't remember his name, but like they're doing a pregame thing before they're still down 3-1, and it's before the game and taking BP and whatnot. And he's just like, "Don't let us get hot." He's like, "Don't let us win one." He's like, "Just close us out tonight." He's like, "Don't let us get one." And sure enough, they end up winning the series and go on to win the World Series.
Yeah, it's like that. It's like that what if factor. Like, what if we can be the team to, come back from 3-1? What if we can win this game? Like, what if? That's something you do a lot as an athlete is, what if we come back? What if we pull off this win and we're, 28-point underdogs or whatever it might be? It's just, that's what drives you and kind of motivates you is like the what if. Like, what if we can be something great or do something great?
yeah, you're right, Cal. And then you start thinking about players that, when those moments are the biggest, they kind of they fold. Like I think about James Harden in the playoffs. It's like when all the chips are down, historically he never shows up. He's great in the regular season. I mean, he's a very talented player, but when everything's on the table, he shies away from the moment. And I just wonder like what it is in his psychology that makes him perform that way in like the biggest situations. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's hard when it's like, it's obviously team sports are so different because there's so many other things that go into it other than just, man, James Harden averages 35 in the regular season and postseason it's 17, on 30% shooting or whatever. I got to get over.
Oh my God.
This freak, man.
We got about 2 hours and 20 minutes left. Should show up around 8 p.m. The end of the first quarter for Game 6 NBA Finals. OKC versus Indiana. Cal, what are you thinking about the series so far?
I think it's been good. I think it's been really exciting. I hate the Thunder, and so I'm really pulling for the Pacers. I think a lot of people thought the Pacers would kind of get blown out.
It's in Indiana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The game's in Indiana.
Game 6 in Indiana. So.
And they can win this.
Yeah, they sure.
And then
Well,
it's Game 7.
Halliburton is supposedly game time decision.
He's hurt.
He strained his calf in Game 5.
I saw that play. Yeah, that sucks because he had a really bad Game 5. What makes you hate?
Stephen A. called him out.
Of course he did. What makes you hate the Thunder so much, Cal?
Let me take my word back. I don't hate the Thunder. I just don't want them to win because, they just have some guys on their team who a little corny, don't play the game maybe the way that I want to see it on TV.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about Shea, the MVP, who's an amazing player, but definitely foul baits a little bit, and that's to say everyone in the NBA foul baits, so it's not just him, but, it's frustrating because you feel like he gets every call, and it's just like this is the NBA Finals, and you're foul baiting and getting all these free throws and shots up, and it's kind of frustrating to watch sometimes because as a fan, you kind of want the game to just go and flow, and when there's a million fouls and free throws and timeouts, and it's just like it gets kind of boring to watch.
I agree.
And so that's kind of my thing with the Thunder is a little bit foul baiting and a little bit too much dip on their chip. And they'll get humbled tonight. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, the Pacers can come back. They got a home game. I think they win tonight. In Game 7, anything can happen. But if Halliburton's injured, that's going to be tough.
It's TJ McConnell game.
Bro, I hope he starts. I love TJ McConnell. He's probably my favorite
I feel like
player.
he shouldn't start, though.
Keep him on the bench.
Yeah, you
Let
need
him-
that spark off the bench.
Yeah. Can you turn your mic down a little bit, Cal?
Yeah.
Screaming in the mic.
What number am I?
You're
2?
2, yeah. Turn it to like 7 or 6. And then you can keep talking
Banter.
normally, like you were doing. But Ben, what do you think about the NBA Finals? What's your take?
I mean, I'm probably the least basketball fan in this car right now. I think, let's start from the beginning. I think the NBA as a product has dropped tremendously over the last 6-7 years.
Why do you say that?
Well, kind of what Cal pointed out, the officiating has been really poor. The style of the play has changed a lot, where it's a lot of three-pointers. There didn't really seem to be as much strategy and like coaching and play calling. It's a lot of ISO ball. I'm not a fan of that personally, so I kind of strayed away from watching NBA all the time. On top of that too, like championship series should be a big deal in terms of the marketing, in terms of the visual during the game, and the NBA has dropped the ball on that, like in terms of the way that they go about the broadcasting.
Yeah.
The courts have no, I mean, you wouldn't be able to tell like if it's a championship game or a regular season game. They don't even do the lineups. Like they don't show you the players walking on the court. There's no national anthem.
They
It's like
did
there's
the
zero-
walkouts for the first time, Game 5, and those were cool.
And so it's
But-
like make it more like a championship environment. I think people would be more in tuned to like sit down and watch. But when it just feels normal, it's like, all right, you know, because every other sport in the playoffs, like you can tell like this is a playoff game, a Super Bowl, playoff baseball, playoff hockey. You know, so it's just that's what I don't like. And then when it comes to the Thunder, yeah, I agree with what Cal said. There's a lot of foul baiting. I think there's favorable whistles, but we see that across all sports with players that are elite. You know, Patrick Mahomes maybe gets more roughing the passer calls than a Cam Newton or Caleb Williams or someone who just hasn't proven as much that they deserve these types of whistles. So I want equal treatment.
Yeah, I want to piggyback on that too with the NBA ratings. You know, that was a big deal probably around Christmas time with the NBA ratings being down. And then you think about why they aren't showing like the walkout and everything. I think it's all money based. Like that time when you would see the players come out and do the national anthem and all that, that's time that now is advertisements. Those are commercial times where you might get like a 3-minute, if you're lucky, segment from, you know, ESPN's doing the coverage. So you might get a 3-minute segment from Stephen A, Perk, Malika.
Yeah, the worst broadcasting crew.
The worst crew. And then, yeah, you just see advertisements the whole time. And then I think
They don't even have the NBA Finals logo like on the court. They have to put like a hologram that you just see on TV.
That's the one that really pissed me off.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, you can't.
YouTube TV ads were bigger than the finals ad.
Yeah, they need to.
Yeah, it's clear.
Like that what they used to do, where when it was the finals, they'd put the big, you know, trophy in the middle of the court with obviously the home team's logo or whatever. It just like
It meant
when
more.
it probably is even cooler as a player. You know, you walk on the court, you're like, man, like they went out of their way to do this because this is such an important game, such an important series. Like it needs to feel like it, and it needs to change. Like the visual needs to be there, and especially as a fan, like if you weren't really in tune with basketball and you just were watching, you'd probably think it's just a regular game.
Yeah.
Just because there's not really that many things that are kind of reminding you of, oh, this is, you know, Game 6 of the NBA Finals.
Okay, I got a question for you guys. So, do you think that you know, the NBA is always like trying to do something different every year. Like this past couple years, they've done the Commissioner's Cup tournament.
Oh, yeah.
Like the mid-season tournament where they paint the courts all crazy and they have their city edition uniforms. I'm wondering, like, since the NBA is like a global business and they basically have to keep improving and making more and more money, that's like taking the precedent over the actual, you know, product of being a good basketball game. And I'm just wondering, like, is that the main thing overall, do you think?
Is what the main thing?
Like trying to make money?
Making money versus having like the
best products. It shouldn't be the main thing, because if the best product's out there, people are going to spend the money to watch it and go see it.
Yeah, I think they're already naturally the best basketball product.
Yeah, you want to watch the best talent, and there should be for all sports, like a no broadcast or like a commercial free, because that's what bothers me too. It's like you want to watch like a there's sometimes when you're watching the NBA and it's like this guy just got dunked on and they just go straight to timeout and commercial, and it's like, who is like, why are we not able to see this replay, or why are we not able to go back and like dissect this play? That definitely bothers me a lot, because it's like you're missing out on highlights. And so that's always something that's bothered me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like, I guess the point I was trying to make is like, if the NBA, let's say it's 2010, 2011, where it's like LeBron's going to the Heat, the NBA is so exciting, right? You have a fan base. Like, why don't we just keep that product the same? Why do we have to keep growing the fan base and trying to try new things and make it more profitable? Why can't you just take the same fan base and just ride out on, like, this is a consistently good product?
I think sports are really in tune with, you know, just society in general, and I've heard this term a lot where sports is a microcosm of society. And so, you know, obviously what our society is nowadays is all inclusive. How can we, you know, incorporate everybody, all walks of life, all religions, all cultures? And so, yeah, there probably is a lot of pressure to be, you know, a commissioner of a league or whatever, and you're trying to, you know, make your sport for everybody, you know, gay people, transgender people, you know, people that live outside of America. Like, it's a lot. There's a lot of audiences that they're having to be, you know, inclusive for, and, you know, give them a product and have, you know, make them feel comfortable watching it. And it probably is really stressful, because
I agree.
Back in, like you just said, in 2010, 2011, like, that was peak sports, because there wasn't a million different things going on and making sure everyone was involved and all that stuff.
So here's my question. When have sports been exclusive?
I mean,
What do you mean by that?
Yeah,
We're talking about, like, we have to make sports more inclusive. Like, when has it been exclusive?
I wasn't saying we have to make them.
No, I'm just asking the question in general. It's like we're trying to do all these things to cater all these people, but it's like when, I just don't understand.
I don't think
necessarily
it's
about
ever
when
been exclusive. I think people who believe it's exclusive are just like that because maybe their own personal struggles, or, you know, if you're a gay person, like, there's no law saying that a gay person can't play a sport, but you don't see enough representation in those sports, and so maybe that's why they think that it's exclusive and they're not welcomed. And that goes for every category. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think, you know, maybe sports were exclusive when they were just beginning, right? And there are still sports like that. Like, we don't get any, like, marketing push for, like, cricket, or, you know, like, there's some sports that just, like, don't cross our
and there's
feed.
certain, like, sports are regional too. Like, hockey is not a huge sport in Texas, like, in high schools. Like, it's, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not just a sport that's offered or is easy to go do in our state. Like, then you go up north and hockey is, like, the number one sport. You know, like Texas is known for football.
Yeah.
Like, whereas if you go to Massachusetts or, you know, all those states up north, like,
hockey's more popular.
their main thing is like, let's go to the rink and play some hockey, not let's go shoot some hoops or throw the football around.
But I think, Ben, you brought up a good point, because the NBA is the most inclusive organization of them all. They are international. They have both genders, right?
Yeah.
Like the
Men and
NFL,
women.
NFL does not have women NFL. You think about, that's like half of the population that cannot play the game. The NBA, anyone can play, and it's around the world. So I think that part of it makes it where they are trying to be inclusive, and it makes sense from a money perspective why they want to get everyone in. But I also think if you are pandering to everyone, and it's like everyone can get in on this, I think you end up sacrificing something.
Well, I think you end up abandoning the original base of people.
Yeah, you lose that main fan group.
And it's not that it's like, man, like they're not, you know, I don't even really know, but yeah, it's just like I feel like we create the social influence, what Cal said. I mean, yeah, sports are the great unifier. So it's like, you know, people from all walks of life, all backgrounds, all countries, whatever, can tune into a game and like cheer for a team, cheer for a competitive game. So like, I feel like that needs to be the primary focus of, hey, let's make it accessible to everyone rather than like trying to just like cater to these niche groups of people where it's like, I don't think that the barrier from them watching existed already. Like you putting a gay pride flag is like, oh, well now I'm going to watch football because they showed this logo. Like I don't know if that's like actually getting people to tune in or not, but I think it turns people off of like, why is this the focus of the league?
Yeah.
Like it just, I think like misappropriated energy.
Yeah, that's
Well,
a good
there's
point.
I don't know if you guys saw this, but this will be good. It's right on par with what we're
I
talking
think I know
about.
what you're going to say.
So it is Pride Month. Yeah, it's still June. So
It's men's mental health.
yeah, that too. Don't
Men's
really hear a
mental
lot
health.
about that during this season. But anyways, so there was something put out, and this isn't verbatim. What? Oh, this isn't verbatim of what was said, but basically, the NFL like official Instagram page, you know, put out a post, basically saying that like football is gay, football is transgender, football is XYZ, and you know, you fill in the blank on all these different terminologies that we use nowadays. But like Des Bryant quoted it on Twitter and was like, I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but this is incredibly false. Like the locker room is not like a place of, basically he was just disagreeing with the post, and I could probably find out the exact tweet that he posted about it, but it just like goes to show it's like,
Yeah.
he's right. Like, no, like football isn't gay, football isn't transgender, it's football.
it's
like
football.
when you try to change it to, you know, fit these people's narratives and, you know, fit their personalities or whatever, it sort of ruins it and it dilutes the sport. And I don't know, I can see where a lot of people can get upset and be like, man, fuck this, I'm not watching the NFL anymore.
Yeah.
And I can see where that loses a lot of fans and sort of, you know, the overall just fan base and group of people that are watching it. But I'm gonna try and find that tweet.
Yeah.
They're trying to like sexualize sports.
Yeah, why does it matter what your sexual orientation is for the NFL?
And there has been gay players. You remember Michael Sam? You know, that was a huge topic, the defensive end from Missouri.
Yeah, he was a beast, right? He's
He
good.
was a beast in college. He was he was a stud. Missouri had a good football year, and he got drafted by the Cowboys. And I don't know what round it was, but it was televised.
No,
And
it was the Rams, I think.
the Rams?
Yeah.
Okay, well, either way. And they were talking about this. I saw some clip not too long ago. They were talking about that. And so they're showing him on the TV. I think he was like a 4th-round pick or something. Showing him on the TV. They had the camera at his house. And, you know, he had his boyfriend there with him. And, you know, they're kissing on TV. And then they're shoving cake in each other's faces. They like smush cake and like licking his fingers. And I think it was a scout for the Rams or someone that worked in that organization. And he said in this interview, he's like, after that, it just kind of, it turned into a weird thing. And I think, he had a very short career. I don't know what he ended up doing after that. But, yeah, Carl Nassab or whatever, defensive end. I think he played for Oakland and the Tampa Bay Bucks. And Billy Beane, who was a, general manager and, the MLB, and Jason Collins. And just like, I don't think people are really that concerned about it. But when you make it, and that's kind of my beef. I guess we can get into this. Not beef, but it's like no one really cares what you're doing until you make it your entire personality. And you're just like shoving it in people's faces all the time. Like, there's not a straight day. Or, it's like, because no one's really like out there, hey, I'm straight. But then when someone's gay, it's like people just don't want to have to deal with all that. Like these labels, it's like your sexual life is personal. It's private. Like keep it to yourself.
Yeah, I think the reason people do that is they just want to be accepted. And I have nothing against any gay person or anybody who believes differently or does things like that I don't really agree with, but like you're already accepted. Like a good person doesn't give a shit and they'll accept you for whoever you are and whatever you want to be. But like you said, when you're forcing it onto me and forcing it onto other people, it gets hard to like, you just want to, it's like, all right, like shut up. But I found the tweet, Jack, if you want me to read it.
Yeah, go for it.
All right, so this was posted by the NFL. It says, football is gay, football is lesbian, football is queer, football is transgender, football is for everyone. And Des Bryant quoted it and said, these are wild statements to make. Excuse my silliness. I'm going to proudly tell my boys football is none of these things. I have nothing against gays, but this is far from right. And then he also said, there's gay players in the NFL, but forcing it in people's faces, especially children, can send the wrong message. Football is a real community, like the gay community. Imagine telling gays they have to advocate for straight people. They probably would have a problem. And so he pretty much says what we're saying about.
Period.
Common sense.
Yeah, that was a great way for him to say that, and it really comes down to like when the kids are involved. That's when and like forcing it in people's face. It's like, don't take football from us. Come on now.
And it's like the MLB Pride Night. Like I get it. Like I get having these events and stuff, themed events. There's not a straight night. Like there's a dog night, there's a cat night, there's a punk rock night, there's a 4th of July night, and it's just like, the Texas Rangers are the only MLB team to not do Pride, like not have a Pride night. And it's like, and there's even players that have been really outspoken. They're like, why is this a part of the game? It's like,
yeah, like,
no sense.
Why do you think the NFL tweeted that, Cal?
Again, it goes back to
like
what we were originally talking about of not wanting to get, dragged through the mud or have a certain population or group of people hate you and hate your product because you didn't advocate for them. And so the way we advocate for people nowadays is all through social media, and posting that video probably made those people feel better, and they can check off that box or check off that list. Say they did it.
Like I think it all started with all those DEI initiatives. Then they started posting a lot about like women being hired in sport worlds, and now it seems to like that kind of be a pretty dominant thing. I remember when I was in college, it felt like it was harder to be hired as a man in an athletic department than it was as a woman at the time, just because it seemed like these women were getting all these jobs. It's like there's no women playing this sport. Like it didn't really resonate with me as to like, I don't know. I don't want to get in trouble with what I'm saying, but I think you'll get what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's something that on first glance, like it's easy to go along with the crowd when it comes to DEI. Like diversity is important. I think that's true, and you want to be inclusive and yeah. But then when you really think about it, if you're hiring someone, it's actually illegal to hire them based on their, their age, their sex, their race, and all these things, but that's what the DEI is doing. They're specifically hiring based on the race of a person versus the actual competency for the job. And that goes against what I believe in personally.
Yeah, I agree with
the
that.
best person should be
the best
for
person
the
should
job.
get the job.
Yeah.
Qualified person.
Most
Because
qualified.
we're not bigots. We don't hate people.
No.
Like, you want everyone to have the same rights that you have of freedom of choice and loving who you want to love, and like, I have zero problem with that. But it's just these forced initiatives to get people to incorporate things that they don't want in their own personal lives. It's like, I don't want to turn on the TV to watch a football game and like be told that I'm the problem. Like, that just makes zero sense. And like, all the end racism, like, everyone wants to end racism. Like, you don't need to put a sticker on the back of your helmet and like, it seems
really
to create more
doesn't-
problems
that
than
doesn't
solve
do
anything.
in my opinion.
Yeah, it's
Because
kind of
all
shallow.
it does is kind of, I mean, obviously racism is a huge thing in America, but when you're constantly talking about it and reminding yourself of it, it's like, it feels like it'll never end, you know what I'm saying? Like, not Morgan Wallen, Morgan Freeman, this is like, I don't remember the exact quote he said, but he's like, you want to know how to end racism is you stop talking about it.
Oh,
And
interesting.
It's true in a sense.
That made me think of when we had that conversation about like therapy and like how bad it is to talk about
Yeah.
problems. Like, you're sinking into your problems all the time. I feel like it's the same thing on the global culture, national culture. It's like, yeah, we've got differences. Yeah, we've got problems. But if you're constantly telling us that we've got problems, then I feel like it only creates more division and more finger pointing and more separation than it does bringing people together just naturally.
I agree, because like, if you think about it, if you're sitting there just dwelling and thinking about your problems all the time, or thinking about the injustices of the world, you're going to go crazy. There's always something to be outraged at. There's always a group of people that's being marginalized, and yeah, it's just not a healthy way to focus your mind. Like, why would you focus on the negative all the time when you can focus on the positive? That's how I'm thinking about it. But did you see? Yeah, I saw the Rangers were the only team that didn't do the Pride Night. Do you think that comes down to the owners just like, we're not doing that?
Yeah, I would say
Think
so.
so.
The
I don't
owners have
know.
a decision. I mean, it's their team. Like, so yeah, I think it definitely. Like, would Jerry Jones do it? I don't know if they do an NFL Pride.
No,
Pride
'cause it's
week.
not during the NFL
Oh,
season.
yeah. But like, definitely during all the kneeling, I think Jerry Jones told his players, like, you're not fucking kneeling. Like, you're my employee. Like, and that's it. Like, you abide by our rules, and if you don't do that, then like, yeah, we'll kick you to the curb.
I think it's a good way to. It's just like, you got to think critically about like what you're actually supporting. Like, are you going to go along with the crowd and this is okay? Or are you going to actually just stand up for what you think, despite everyone else maybe disagreeing with you? I think like that's important.
Like, if you were playing on a team and you're in the locker room and they're like, hey, like, a few of us are going to kneel, like, we want y'all to kneel with us in solidarity. Like, that is where your morals and your values are being tested. And it's just like, what do people do?
I think
Like,
I
you
would.
either stand alone and like, be strong, or you join the group thing.
What would you do? Because I feel like
What
that
was
might have
What
happened
was
to
the
you.
question?
You're in the locker room and you've got a couple teammates come up to you and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna kneel here for the national anthem. Are you gonna join us?"
That's tough. It's kind of hard to answer that immediately without thinking on it, but
I would like to.
obviously, like, my first instinct is to say no and be like, I want to stand for the national anthem, and give respect to our troops, but also, I want to be with my teammates. I want to let them know that I support them and, I have their back at the end of the day. And it can be a tough, line because especially like when that was kind of happening and, all that controversy, it felt like whatever side you chose, like if you chose to stand or, during like the 2020 BLM and all that stuff, if you didn't post a black square, like you were racist. And like that's how it felt like being a white guy. It was like if I don't go out of my way to post a black square or post something about how I'm not racist, people will believe I'm racist. And that's kind of off topic, but
no, that makes sense.
That's kind of like you'll definitely be viewed in a different light, whatever you choose, but I would stand at the end of the day. Final answer.
I think, I would stand too. I also would like to understand, like, why are you kneeling, and like, what does it mean? It's just crazy because there's so many views of America.
Yeah, and it's like the same people that like applaud those who kneel criticize those who stand. So it's like, we want everyone to have freedom of choice until you're not on my side, and then I'm going to talk shit about you, right?
Yeah, I think what really started it was when Kaepernick did it. There's a clip of him saying that he got advice from an actual soldier.
It was a soldier. Green beret,
yeah, and he told them to peacefully protest was to just take a knee. And nobody knew this prior to, Kaepernick doing it, and sort of, all the hate and heat he got for it was advice from an actual soldier who fought for our country. And so it's like, I think it's hard to say, but like, is it really that big of a deal if you stand or kneel? Like, y'all, do you guys think it's that important? Like, if you're a coach, put you guys in my situation. If you're like the head coach of a program, and a few players come up to you and they want to kneel before the national anthem because something's been going on, they feel like they've been maybe racially profiled or there's some injustices that they've been going through, like, what are you going to do as a coach? Say no?
I think you let them do that because it's their freedom of speech. Freedom of protest. They're allowed to do that.
Exactly.
I think like that opens up an opportunity to have a conversation with them about like despite this, like we still are a team and we're still together with you. You're our brother. We love you and all that stuff. It's tricky because there's a lot of bad things that America, government, military has done that we kind of turn a blind eye to.
Exactly.
But at the same time, the world is literally a brutal ass place where people are conquered, people are killed. This has never stopped throughout history. So we're part of like the winning team, and it's like, it's kind of the dilemma. I don't know.
I think it's also like a lack of perspective. A lot of the folks that riot here in the United States and claim that this is the worst place to live, and it's just like, then go somewhere else. Like, truly go to these places that you're saying are more free than us, and like, you can be killed for speaking against the government. Like, if you're a woman and you're showing too much of your body, they will kill you. Like, they will rape you. And it's like, it's like America is the land of the free and the home of the brave. And like, I think so many people just live in this box and don't really know what happens outside of these walls.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what a lot of these military people and, world travelers speak about. It's like, I fight for my country, so they have these rights to protest and speak up, but so many of these people would be not enlightened necessarily, but they would gain so much more perspective on life if they traveled to a place that truly was under a totalitarianship or a dictatorship, where you couldn't post a meme without the FBI showing up on your doorstep and arresting you. And like, that happens in other countries. people don't. Like, they don't believe that happens.
It's like there's the bad stuff that happens in this country is, I feel like it's a very small percentage, but the way the media and all these different media outlets portray our problems and these internal battles that we go through in America, like, think about it. That's all Twitter is. If you go on Twitter right now, or at least my algorithm is all Iran versus Israel. Is U.S. going to get involved in the war? And it's like, if you're constantly reading things like that and all your social media feed or the things that you're reading about it's like, that's all you're gonna fucking think. And so how about, instead of just thinking about all these problems and how bad our world is and how bad America is, just maybe don't look at it and watch those problems go away. That's what I was telling Cody. I was like, dude, like, we're the fucking United States of America. Nobody's gonna fuck with us. Like, he thinks we're gonna get bombed or whatever. It's like, if you literally just stop reading about that stuff, you won't even think about it. You won't even worry about it.
Yeah, it's scary, but it's happening right now. And the Israel president or whatever, Benjamin Netanyahu, said that if it's Tel Aviv first, then it's New York City next. That was what he said.
Yeah,
and there's probably a lot of loaded statement there for wanting our help to help them. And then even Ted Cruz interview with Tucker Carlson. Did y'all talk about that at all the other night?
No, I saw that. I'm not.
Yeah, again,
I'm past listening to.
I'm done listening to that stuff.
Yeah.
And
hey, that's all fair.
Like, I don't necessarily have anything against Ted Cruz, but I'm kind of also off of, like, a lot of these politicians using, like, the Bible as, like, explanation for political strategy and
isn't it so
like
weird how
geopolitical relations? It's like, dude, like you are not like, it's just so hypocritical. Like, all those people, it's like you're taking money to lead people, and it's like you're going to reference a Bible verse as an excuse to go to war. Or it's like, fuck you, dude. Weird. Like, I don't. That, like, it just does not matter to me.
Yeah, it was.
Isn't it weird how they're also like, I mean, Twitter, like, Trump and Elon were, like, arguing back and forth on Twitter. It's just like, and, like, Gavin Newsom, like, he's quoting, like, our public figures, like, public authorities, the President of the United States, the Vice President, like, Elon Musk. A lot of these extremely powerful people are just, Twitter beefing, like, arguing on Twitter like children almost. It's like, how can I get the upper hand? I don't know. It's very odd to me that
our founding fathers would be sick.
Yeah, it's kind of embarrassing.
It is embarrassing. It's like, we are the #1 country in the world, and, like, this is how we're handling our business. And I think that's just more of a reflection of just how lost we are as people.
Yeah.
It's like, we have so many problems going on. Do not try to get in front of me here, you bitch.
He's gone.
18-wheeler.
614-808.
He signaled.
That signal is
signaled and slowed down traffic. It's like 5 minutes to get in front of this 18.
Do we need a little stop? Is it coming to time for a bathroom break?
My groove.
All right, good. Let's transition off of the political spectrum.
Good idea.
Did we lose all the listeners? No, I'm just kidding. But all right, cool. I guess, well, this is kind of political. The next thing that...
What isn't political?
Okay, so let me find what exactly this law is. But, okay. Senate Bill 3, banning THC products, has been proposed, I believe. I don't know if it's been passed.
Yeah, I think it got proposed.
It's proposed to ban THC products. Is that just in Texas, probably?
I think so.
A lot of different states, but yeah, Texas predominantly.
Yeah.
It's like freedom at what point, like, what can you do with your body? Like, is the government going to regulate your freedom to ingest a substance?
Yeah.
Well, it's like, if you're going to open up this Pandora's box of, like, like, yeah, certain drugs should definitely be illegal. Like, we shouldn't have fentanyl available for sale. Like cocaine, meth, like those things that kill people. Like, show me a case where someone overdosed and died on marijuana.
Can't find it.
You can't drive under the influence, so it's not like you get a pass for driving high or whatever or anything. But it's like those same people that are lobbying against THC products are the one that are probably getting paid by tobacco and alcohol industry. It's like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to, in my opinion. It's like they're losing money. Tobacco companies are losing money from the THC smokers.
Yeah,
And that's
I think
all what it comes down to. Someone's getting paid to lobby for this bill.
What's this Honda gonna do?
Yeah, there's definitely just like the way I feel like marijuana is kind of, it's like persona with other people, and you know, a lot of older people, it's kind of like they sort of demonize it, and I especially did when I was younger, kind of growing up, and that's what we were kind of like, was kind of drilled into us, where drugs are bad, like don't smoke weed, don't do these things, and you know, you do it once and you're like, man, like this isn't that bad, I don't really understand why this is illegal. But when you make, like, if this bill does get passed, all it's going to do is just increase crime, and people are still going to find a way to get it and find a way to smoke.
Yeah.
And all you're doing is just making people do it illegally. And it kind of goes back to the Prohibition Act of whenever, in the 40s or whatever. When was that?
I think it was
Before that.
the 20s.
Anyways, I bring that up is because they banned alcohol, right? And you think people just stop drinking? No.
No, yeah, it's set
They
up
found-
That's what built them up.
Yeah, they found ways to do it illegally and organized ways to still do it. Like, all you're doing is just increasing crime and increasing ways to do it more dangerously, and I don't know, I feel like that's kind of how I think of it when that bill gets proposed.
Okay, well then what would you say if you're going to make that argument? Do you think that, you know, if people are going to do it no matter what, should we just go ahead and legalize? Almost crash up here at the 18s.
What were you saying?
Okay, so what I think you were saying was that, like, basically if the government's going to outlaw it, people are still going to do it, and it's actually worse off because people are going to set up illegal schemes and crimes around it.
Yeah.
So
Which
then
people are already doing.
people are doing that
and
with
getting arrested for.
with actual illegal drugs
Yeah.
like meth and heroin and what's another illegal?
PCP, fentanyl.
All the bad ones.
Yeah, I don't really know all of them.
Then, like, shouldn't that same logic happen? Shouldn't we just legalize those so there's no crime surrounding them?
Didn't they do that in Oregon? I think Oregon legalized all drugs, and I think that's actually up for reversal. Or I think they introduced them to reverse it.
It's a good point.
I don't know where I land
mean,
on that, but
you just got to think all those drugs that you mentioned are very different, and they all have different effects.
that's true.
You know, I really don't know the extent of all those drugs and kind of what they do to you, but obviously fentanyl can kill you. Cocaine and all these other drugs are extremely addictive, and they kind of make you, I don't want to say go crazy, but in a sense they sort of do. Like, if you are constantly taking them, and you know, you can potentially overdose and, you know, get hooked on these things that are very harmful to your body and your brain, whereas marijuana is, obviously there's some negatives to it, but there's a lot of positives that can come out of using it the correct way and being smart with it too.
Yeah, it's a completely different
Yeah,
substance
way different.
than those, and yeah, my personal opinion is, yeah, we shouldn't legalize the really hard drugs.
Isn't it, there's like Class A, is that the terminology for Class A, Class B?
Schedule 1,
Yeah,
Schedule 2,
1, okay.
Schedule 3.
So what drugs are in the Schedule 1?
Let's look it up. I'm gonna look it up and read them off.
I'm running low on my juice.
Is that the uptime?
Yeah, these are good. This is one, like, I just want a nice buzz.
How much caffeine is in that?
142 actually. So I'm at 342 milligrams of caffeine today.
What is this, 200?
Yeah, bangs are 200.
So I've had 500 a day.
I've had 200 pre-workout, but okay, so Schedule 1, illegal with no accepted medical use. High potential for abuse, no accepted medical use in the United States. Examples: heroin, LSD, MDMA, psilocybin, magic mushrooms, methaqualone, cannabis, marijuana. It's federally Schedule 1 drug.
Wow.
Peyote.
So just go back. So
bath
on that
salts.
list, Schedule 1, heroin is in the same category as marijuana.
And magic mushrooms.
And yeah. Isn't that crazy?
I mean, my mind immediately goes to like, what's the medical equivalent to heroin? It's like an opiate that they prescribe you, that they
It's terrible.
make millions of money on and get people addicted and
Have you guys
kill
ever
themselves.
been on like some of those prescribed pain medicine from, like, say you had a surgery or something?
Yeah.
Dude, you honestly, when you're on those things, I remember when
Feels really, really good.
you feel like I really couldn't form like a thought. Like I felt very numb and like, I don't know, it was a very weird feeling, and it was a couple years ago when I was on them after my surgeries, and like I had schoolwork that I had to do, and I remember like I was just looking at the computer and like I couldn't focus, like I couldn't. It was very weird, and it was like, oh, I just wanted to get off that medicine as fast as I could, just because it was making me feel very weird.
Yeah. Which one was it? Was it hydrocodone?
Yeah, hydrocodone.
That's the one that I was on for my wisdom teeth. And it's like, it really showed me like, wow, this is
Powerful
I get
stuff.
why people like this a lot.
What do you
it?
guys think about like LSD and magic mushrooms and even marijuana being used as a medical drug? How do you guys feel about that? I know you guys kind of talked about it with
Yeah,
Jackson.
I think it should be. It's like, I think we need to reapproach our medical industry from more of a holistic and alternative approach of, I mean, exactly what Jackson talked about. It's plant medicine. It's like we instead bypass that for synthetic drugs that are addictive and
Made in a
have
lab.
harmful effects. It's like they don't know. Like, you don't know. It's just, yeah, it's like the SSRI conversation of like how many of these people I never knew. I didn't even know what that was for a while, like antidepressants and stuff, and until I started working and doing some like, you know, health questionnaires with clientele, like you start to realize like, holy shit, like so many people are on antidepressants and SSRIs and Zoloft and all these different things, Selexia. It's just like, damn, like where did this guidance come from? Like, who decided that this was your only option or the best option? And those are addictive. Yeah. And they alter your mood and they alter your brain chemistry. And it's like, yeah, so they need to find, especially I think, experimentation with PTSD, you know, folks, veterans, you know, ketamine, psilocybin, MDMA. Like, there has to be better stuff to help these people out and become, you know, citizens again, civilians.
Yeah. You know what's... you bring up a point, Ben, that just reminded me of... back in my sophomore year of college, we had a research project for our English class, and you could research any topic, anything that you wanted to talk about. And this was when I was first kind of getting introduced to psychedelics. I had some people that I knew that were kind of doing them, and I hadn't done any of them yet, but I was interested just because you hear some crazy stories. But anyways, so I was doing mine about how natural plant medicine like psilocybin and LSD can help patients who have, you know, these severe issues like PTSD or are depressed, whatever it might be. And I can't remember exactly the numbers, but there was a study done on PTSD patients, and there was a placebo group that got, a sugar pill or whatever, and then the control group who, were given a certain dosage of LSD. And the people that were given the LSD, I think it was around 75% of the PTSD people reported having zero symptoms of any of the PTSD symptoms after taking it.
What?
And there was obviously some other percentages, but I brought this up to my professor, and people that are listening, I went to a Christian school, a private education, drugs are no good, drugs are bad, that sort of environment. And he, he brought me into his office, and he kind of got onto me for, believing these things and talking about it. And it was just it was kind of crazy because I thought it was really cool what I was finding. And it was why would we stop doing this? You would think that most people, if you're trying to get healthy, you don't want to be on pills or, popping these pills that have these crazy side effects.
Yep.
Whereas you can take a natural plant-based medicine that can alleviate your PTSD symptoms or anything like that. And he was just kind of pissed off.
What?
And it was wow, man. I wish I could find that report that I made, but
That sucks, dude. You want a professor who would think critically and actually be oh wow, that's interesting. I wonder. Open-minded.
I remember he brought up a point about this guy who supposedly smoked weed and then murdered his whole family.
Oh, fuck.
I was yeah, I'm sure that guy was perfectly fine human being.
Yeah.
But
just the most exaggerated
dude,
example
I
ever.
read this the other day too. Back to the antidepressant conversation. There was a study done that out of all the documented school shootings or mass shootings ever documented, 100% of the suspects who shot up these people were on an antidepressant.
What?
And so there's definitely some correlation between those types of medicine and irrational behavior, obviously.
That's scary.
Yeah,
stuff.
suicidal behavior. Yeah. I mean, isn't that wild?
Potential to harm others. It's yeah, but they never talk about that. Instead, they hide the manifestos and they hide the motives because they know it disrupts, the grooming and all the shit that's been taking place with the trans and all that stuff. Like the Nashville shooting. I lived in Nashville. I know where that school was. Drove by it many times. Covenant Catholic.
That was a transgender.
Yeah, it was a trans person that wrote a large manifesto, went in, I think killed a few kids, and you can watch the body cam footage of it, the officer that responded, it's within 3 minutes or something, and it's super intense.
Yeah.
They're all right, go, and they're checking every room, and they finally go through this hallway and see him up, and just fucking shoots him dead.
Yeah, that video was scary, man. Jay!
Oh my god.
Yeah. Hit the brakes on him. No, but that's crazy. Do you think that... Okay, so you're saying correlation, but do you think it just means that all the school shooters were depressed and then they were prescribed these things, or do you think those contributed to their shooting up the school?
It's hard to say exactly, but it probably contributed to a little bit. It's not the end-all be-all. You still have to act on these things, and there's a lot of people who are also on antidepressants who aren't violent and kill people.
True.
So
That's
yeah,
crazy
you just
stat,
gotta, the wrong person gets on it who's, not mentally stable enough, and who knows what can happen.
Sheesh. Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah. Oh, I'm getting a little tired. How much time we got left? Hour and a half?
Yeah, we've been going for an hour and 40 minutes.
Let's go. All
right, let's all drop the question since you're tired. What would be your spirit animal?
Oh. Did we already talk about this?
I don't know.
I do have a couple more topics. Or one that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, you do that then.
Okay, so the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders received a substantial 400% pay increase for this coming season.
Wow.
So there was a 2019 settlement which unveiled that they were getting $15 an hour and $400 per game. With the new raise, the veterans on the cheerleading squad are now making approximately $75 an hour and an estimated $1,600 per game.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, good for them.
Yeah, that's a big pay increase.
And they're probably the most famous cheerleaders in pretty much, I mean, definitely the NFL, but probably all of sports.
Yeah, they're the most notable cheerleader. Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys cheerleader, the blue and white, stars, the white skirt.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying it came after they had their Netflix American Sweethearts, which released last year or this year. And a lot of them have to have second jobs and all this sort of thing. Honestly, good for them. Good for them. $1,600 a game. How many games are there?
There's like 17.
So, how much money are they making? 1,600 times 17. That's $27,000. So,
Seasonal worker.
yeah, as a part-time worker, I mean, that's still not. That's not really that good of a wage.
That's not
You want me to say they shouldn't get paid?
Yeah, take the other side.
Did you watch the thing? Did you watch the documentary about them?
No, I didn't. Did you?
I did.
Oh,
The
wow.
Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders are their own entity. They're not owned by the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, so they do like separate competitions too, maybe?
Well, it's like it's not like Jerry Jones is like, hey, I'm not paying these ladies. It's I don't know the name of the woman who owns it or is the CEO of the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, but like they are separate. And Jerry talked about that when they were originally created. It's like, hey, like you guys go do your own thing. Like build the business, build a company, like, and so that's what they've been doing. So I guess up until that point, like they had decided that, hey, it's more of an honor to be here than it is a job. So I don't know.
$15 an hour is pretty low for that. Doing all the flips and everything and standing all day like that.
Yeah.
It is what it is. All right, Cal, you got some topics for us? Ring them off.
Well, I already asked one,
Oh, I didn't even answer.
and nobody did.
Oh, I thought we were talking about the marijuana. Spirit animal. You know what? I think I want to come back as a fire ant, and I want to learn how it is to feel oppressed.
Well, I'm gonna stomp on you. I would probably be spirit animal. I feel like a buffalo. I mean, I'm the year of the bull.
Yeah, you're the Taurus, which is the bull.
Aren't you like the year of like the rat or something?
Yeah,
Dude.
you are, aren't you?
I'm the goat.
I think I'm the year of the ram.
I don't listen to the Chinese.
Whatever the menu at Tom's Buckle.
Yep, I was always the ram. I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah. Nah, I'm a bull.
Yeah, if we're doing zodiac signs, you're the bull, I'm the goat, the wise goat, you know.
Jeez.
That sits on the top of the mountain.
There's wise goats.
And then there's Cal's the fish. So Cal's
Salmon.
the catfish.
Oh no, Jack, you're the pig.
Oh. That might be worse.
I'm an ox.
What am I?
Ben, you're a dragon.
Jeez.
Yeah, I'm the coolest. I'm a mythical
Are you sure? I'm near the end of 97, so maybe I'll roll over to be a dragon, right?
Let me check again.
I think we'll go ahead and roll me forward. 98. You approve of that, dragon? You roll me forward?
No. You stay as a pig.
Sabrina Carpenter talk to you.
Oh, jeez. They say
Hold
pigs
on.
are always reproducing. Better get to work.
Here's something that's kind of interesting. You know, you've probably seen these billboards somewhere. It's like starts off as like maybe like a mouse, and then it's like a fox, and then a bird, and then a dog, and then a horse, and like giraffe, and all these things. And it's like as the size of the animal increases, like the human compassion for its life increases. It's like we care less about, killing 1,000 ants, but, a cow gets killed and like people are so up in
Who
arms.
is not? What year were you born, Jack? 98?
97.
Yeah, you're actually the ox. Ben, you were what, 99?
May of 99.
You're the rabbit.
Oh,
And I was right, I am the goat.
I've never heard that I'm a rabbit.
Dang, I am literally the goat. That's awesome.
You're the goat. I'm the ox. Ben's the
No.
rabbit.
Let's see what the meaning is behind these, if I can.
It's the Chinese lunar year or whatever. The year you were born.
Yeah, but how do we even know that that's accurate?
ChatGPT? Because I'll believe it.
Maybe the time. Here's something I was talking to someone about. I had this woman that was kind of preaching to me, doing a stretch session on her. And she was like, you should come to church. And, I was just curious because I had listened to, cops getting someone on the other way. I really haven't seen one cop sitting, which is good because I've been going the speed limit. But it was the conversation, Cal, we talked about this with Cody the other night. So let's come to the conclusion that there are infinite realities. Okay,
we're assuming that.
We're assuming that there are infinite realities, right? Through the cosmos and all these complex things. So let's say that when Christianity was created, and I don't know if this is fact, I haven't done like a deep dive on this, but let's say when Christianity was created, they call God the creator of all, right? But what if the interpretation of all at that time was only Earth and the solar system that we currently live in, right? So, but now we know that there actually is a much higher likelihood that there is other, habitable planets out there and solar systems and extraterrestrials and all these things. Does that mean that God is creator of all of that, or God is only the creator of our singular solar system? Because it's like the church at that time would denounce if you thought there was another planet out there that could, contain life, right?
Yeah, they would.
They'd probably say you're a witch.
I think that is like the sign of the times, though. Like they believed that at the time. Where now maybe like an expanded view would be like, okay, now we know there's more out there. This is all grand and this is all amazing that was created by God as a whole, versus like just one thing here.
But does that not, I guess what I'm saying is, does that not contradict the word or the word of the religion? Or I guess all religions, modern religions?
Well, I don't know.
If you believe that there are alternate realities, endless realities, and this world of the unknown, like, I don't know, it's like how could you be so, like, I guess aligned with one religion that only has a few specific things,
Yeah, like if you're saying that there's multiple realities, there's infinite realities where like there's a million infinity scenarios where we're driving down this road on the highway and where we don't get over the right lane now and we do, and then there's a million infinite different realities. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah.
Which that's kind of very tricky to. No, I don't think it is. To be honest, I really don't know what to say here.
Like, does that make sense? I guess kind of what I'm not explaining it the best way.
I think, okay. Like if you're saying that the Bible says that there's only this world, and now that we've found out that there's other planets, and like that wasn't mentioned in the Bible.
Correct.
So then now, like, why wouldn't that be mentioned in the Bible? I mean, was that something that... That's a good question. I don't know.
That is a good
I don't know.
question.
It's definitely complex and can't be answered on a singular conversation, but I don't know. I feel like that just goes back to like the open-mindedness of like, and you know, for something that I believed, I was told when I was in junior high or high school, like I was very interested in evolution, and I was told by this kid who was like kind of like a leader of like our Christian group. Like we went to the same church, and he told me, I remember I was in class and he told me, he's like, if you can't believe in evolution and be a Christian. So there's no such thing as dinosaurs, no such thing as apes turning into humans. So like both can't exist at the same time. So it's like if you are someone that takes a anthropology course and you're learning about Neanderthals and, you know, the stone ape theory, like, does that mean that I can't be a Christian if I'm entertaining this stuff?
It's a good point.
Yeah,
I think like there's people that say like I don't have a religion, I just follow Jesus.
Yeah.
Like I don't follow this strict orthodoxy of Catholicism or Islam. I follow the word of Jesus. And so I think there's people that will say like I don't believe in dinosaurs, I don't believe in evolution because that's not what I was told in the Bible. But then there's people that will believe that and also feel like they are a Christian too. So, you know, that's a tricky part with like something that you have to have faith in. It's like you almost have to logically, you're not going to be able to make it make sense necessarily, but you have to just have faith like that. I think that's what the key pillar of like religion is just faith.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you think every sin is equal?
No.
Isn't that
But isn't that what the word says?
To be honest, I don't know.
I
but
think it is.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think...
I think you're right. Every sin is equal, I'm pretty sure.
That doesn't make sense to me. No.
Let's ask ChatGPT.
But it's like, yeah, if I steal something, yeah, that's a bad thing to do. If I lie, that's a bad thing to do. If I take a life, yeah, that's a really bad thing to do. But those are supposedly, I'm not entirely sure, like treated as equal in the eye of the Lord.
Okay, from the Christian perspective, biblical view, it says yes and no. Yes in the sense that all sin separates us from God. No in the sense that some sins carry greater consequences, both spiritually and morally. Mortal versus... Oh, that's the Catholic view. But basically, the yes, there's a couple verses. It says, for all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. That's for the yes perspective. And then for the no, it says, Jesus tells Pilate, the one who handed me over to you is guilty of a greater sin. Another verse, a sin that leads to death and one that doesn't, suggesting degrees of seriousness. So there's definitely some... I mean, you kind of have to interpret it your own way. And that's sort of what the Bible is kind of... Everyone interprets the Bible in different ways.
Yeah. So I guess if he says that certain sins carry greater consequences, then does that mean that everyone can be saved? Like someone who kills 100 people, can they be saved?
Everyone can be saved.
But I don't believe that. Like I don't in my heart. Like I feel like I don't believe that.
I feel like you
are
just
some
got to be
people
a
that are
good person,
evil.
man. Like
Evil, and should be put to death. Like I don't think you can save someone who is a serial murderer or an abuser, or things like that. That's just like in their nature of who they are in their soul. Like, I don't think those people can be saved, and I don't think we should treat them as they can be saved. I think those are demons that should be exiled.
Oh, that's
So it's on the buffet.
controversial right there.
Okay, so
Man, that's
What
a
if they
cool
are
looking bus.
the way that probably Christians might look at it is like, it's not up to us to decide whether or not someone's going to be saved or not. It's like the faith of knowing, like, if you believe in Jesus Christ, him dying for all of humanity's sins, then that's what, and that belief is going to make you saved. There's nothing that you can do to be saved. All the good deeds in your life are not going to get you to be saved. You just have to believe in Jesus.
So does that? And just for context here, I am not trying to be blasphemous to anyone's religion or viewpoints. I'm simply asking questions. So let's say someone who doesn't believe in God but is a really good person, and they do all these things for their community, they lift each other up, that type of person, but they don't believe in God. Like,
What's
so
the
it's like,
question?
I guess it's like, for those who don't believe in God but still do good deeds, and maybe you're better than someone who does believe in God and continues to sin, but they're like, well, I'm a Christian and I gave my life, so like I'm going to go to heaven, and they're still doing bad things, versus someone who doesn't believe in any God but, is on a straight and narrow path. Like, who gets a spot? And obviously you're right, like, we don't get to decide that, but
That's probably the biggest dilemma, I feel like, in Christianity in general, is like, I know a lot of people who claim to be Christian, and they're getting fucked up every weekend and doing these things that maybe aren't the Christian way, and maybe aren't, they're sinning, which we all do, but I don't know, it's kind of the way Christianity is. I feel like it's just the popular religion, and I'm not saying this for everybody, I'm just saying in general, like, most people in America claim, that's probably what the most common religion in America is, Christianity.
It is. Yeah.
And this isn't a great person to quote, but Andrew Tate was just like talking about how, Jack, a lot more about religion than me, but like the people in Israel and all these different religions, like Muslims and Islams, and those are like devout religious people who devote their whole life to this religion.
Yeah.
Whereas people who are Christian aren't living that Christian lifestyle to that severity of, these other religions. And so it's kind of like, I don't want to say the other religions like are laughing at Christianity, but Christianity is not as like, what's the word? Strict as others, in my opinion.
Definitely,
If that made
like,
any sense.
yeah, no. Islam is definitely way more strict. Like, you have to pray multiple times a day.
Exactly. Well, I guess
5
what
times a
I'm trying to
day.
say is it's a lot easier just to say you're Christian and go
Yeah.
to church every
Yeah.
Sunday and
For sure, it's easier
live
to
that
do
lifestyle and think you're doing just fine. Whereas, anyways.
Yeah, there's like the group of people in the Bible, the Pharisees. Those are the people that basically like tout, like, oh, I'm holy, I'm the Christian, I follow all the rules, and you guys don't, and I'm better than you for that. And those people are talked down in the Bible because of that, and they're, that's not a good type of mentality to have. But at the end of the day, like, you got to decide what you want to believe in this life, and whatever's going to make you feel better. Like, there's the philosophical argument that we probably learned in college. It's like, okay, so if there is a God, wouldn't it be better for you to believe in him, even if there isn't one, but just in case there is, wouldn't it just be better to believe in it? Just in case, like, when you die, are you going to go to hell or heaven?
Yeah.
It's like a risk-reward analysis. So there's that sort of type of people, and then there's the people that believe the word exactly. And, you know, I've started reading the Bible and I've barely scratched the surface. So I don't know a lot, but I'm interested in learning, and I've had experiences in my life that make me believe in God. And it makes me feel better to believe in God. Just personally, it's my opinion. But, you know, like, the point is, it's like, I'm not going to argue why this is real or this isn't real. It's a personal conviction, and that's why I personally don't like organized religion. I don't like having someone like broker this relationship between God and Jesus, where there is actually good things that come from like interacting with other people that have the same faith, and that community is very good. But yeah, there's just you know, like when I thought about Islam, I like read a little bit of the Quran and all this stuff, and you know, there's a lot of weird stuff about Islam and sort of things that Muhammad, the prophet, did, and those people don't think Jesus is God. They think he lived and he was a prophet, but they don't think he was God in the flesh. So, you know, I don't know that much, but
Yeah.
it's super interesting to me.
This reminds me of the Project Veritas thing of what James O'Keefe said. He's like, if you're not willing to die for it, then you're for sale. So, like, would you be willing to die over that?
Over what?
Your Christianity?
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Yeah, it's a fine line. I feel like when I went to 2 Christian universities, and you know, I kind of felt like an outsider because, you know, obviously I wasn't there for the religious aspect of the school. I was there to play a sport, and you know, when religion is, you know, integrated into every aspect of the school and, you know, kind of your social life at the school, it's kind of feels like it's being forced down your throat, and you sort of want to shy away from it. I certainly did. And you know, being forced to take Bible classes and go to chapel and, you know, have all these rules of not being able to have, you know, quote unquote fun in college, it kind of pissed me off and steered me far away from Christianity, and kind of the point where I'm at now, where I don't really know what I believe in. And I feel like it's really important in religion to kind of find your own way and do your own research and kind of discover it on your own instead of being forced to learn about it. And obviously I
agree.
Like, I was going to a religious school, like I knew what I was getting myself into, but I guess not to that extent. And like, I remember very vividly, this was my freshman year at OBU. We had a class, and it was called Success 101, and it was just a BS class that you had to take as a freshman. And one of our professors did this thing where he lined us all up outside and like was asking us questions, and if you agreed with it or whatever, you would step forward.
Okay.
And one of the questions were, do you believe in God? Or like something along those lines. Are you Christian? Whatever. And you know, at that time, I really wasn't sure what I was, and I was the only one who didn't step forward. And I kind of was getting like dirty looks and people kind of side-eyeing me, and it was just it felt very unwelcome at most of these schools, just because I felt like I was being judged constantly. And I wasn't, but that's just kind of the mentality I had, just because I knew I was different and I didn't think the same way that these people thought.
Yeah.
And so it kind of just made me feel lesser about religion and all those sorts of aspects. But
That would be a really good thought experiment if they blindfolded everyone. Instead of like, because it's kind of like the first person raises their hand, and then the next person sees the first person, like, okay, well, now I feel a little bit more safer about doing this. It's like, you shouldn't, like, if it takes peer pressure to make a decision on something, then it's not genuine. So, yeah, that's a powerful experience to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like that's good on you for just, you know, you didn't, and you know, that's, you made your own choice, which is good, and that opens up the door. It shouldn't be like a judgment zone. It should be like, oh wow, well, have you considered this, or like, what do you think about that? I don't think it should be like, oh, let's look at this guy like he's a dumbass. Like, it shouldn't be that.
Yeah.
He's going to hell.
Yeah, this is another instance or an example of sort of feeling that way too. When I was at UMHB, I had a friend who, it was like a Sunday afternoon, and we were eating in the cafeteria, and we were talking about somehow like church got brought up because it was Sunday, and you know, people go to church on Sunday morning. And he was like, Cal, like, did you go to church? And I was like, oh, like, no, I didn't go this morning, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, whoa, like, you don't go to church? And I was like, no. And he kind of, like, jokingly was like, wow, like, that's kind of lame or whatever. And, you know, I asked him, I was like, you think you're a better person than me because you go to church and I don't? Like, we hang out outside. Like, we do the same shit. Like, we're drinking together, doing, you know, the same sort of activities. Like, I straight up asked him if he thought he was a better person than me just because he goes to church. And he's like, well, I didn't say that. And I was like, if I wasn't a Christian, would you still be my friend? And he said no. I was like, wow, like that shows a lot. But
That's crazy.
that's just another instance that I had. And so that's kind of why, like, I think the way I think, I really haven't had many good experiences in that environment. And so, yeah.
That's a crazy experience. I feel like, there's just things that happen in your life that'll make you think one way or another, and that's all well and good. But, like, do you think, question for you guys, do you think that human beings are naturally good people, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think we're naturally good. I mean, we have souls. I think we're naturally good, and everyone has the potential to do bad, the potential to hurt someone's feelings or physically or whatever. But I think that's why we are conscious. Like, you feel bad when you do bad things, and so I think that's a sign that we are meant to do good, built to do good.
Interesting. What do you think,
Yeah,
Cal?
I would agree with that.
So then, okay, so do you feel like, do you have any, like, desires? Yeah, let's stop. Do you have any, like, desires to do something that would be labeled bad?
Yeah, I think that's human nature. I mean, that's kind of like the conversation. Those are the types of conversations that I'm a little bit more inclined to talk about, because, like, I don't think, I guess, as black and white maybe is what modern day religion may offer, in the sense that it's always bad or good. It's always yes or no, or you believe in God or you don't. And I tend to think a little bit more alternatively. Like, dreams are a great representation of, like, the good and the bad, and there's so many different ways to approach, like, what do dreams mean, the interpretation of dreams. And some believe that we have these weird dreams that are sometimes sexual, that are sometimes violent, and is that the brain's way of, like, getting rid of the bad thoughts? Like, hey, this has to be the release, or else if you cross over into, like, you know, awake world, like, maybe that's where bad things can happen. Maybe that's why we sleep. Like, there's a lot of different ways to look at it. I don't really know what I just said there. But.
No, that's interesting. Like, yeah, you ever have a dry spout for a while, and then it's, whoa, that dream was crazy. It's like, was I thinking about it?
I was going to make him that person.
Can't relate.
Sure. But it's like, was I thinking about that a lot?
Ooh.
Or was that just like,
It's like everyone has
was it in our mind?
thought.
So then you're saying people are good though.
Yeah, you're good by not acting on impulse of bad thoughts.
So you're saying you never act on impulse.
No, I'm saying we do, but it's like, and that's the yin and the yang, the give and the take of, like, becoming a good person is you're going to have to struggle to know what the straight and narrow path is. Think of Jelly Roll.
It all comes back to Jelly Roll.
You had to show up in the pew hungover and sweating whiskey to be like, damn, like I am fucked up.
I only talk to God when I need a savior.
That's powerful.
Well, that's a good song.
There's a lot of people.
That's the first song I heard.
Yeah, it's like if you're only going to thank God when things go well and blame him when things go bad, like, is that you're a fair weather believer.
Definitely. That's like probably one of the hardest things to do is to like see maybe the positive in a negative experience. Yeah. I would imagine. We're pulling into Buc-ee's. We're hitting about 1 hour left. We're over in
America's. Let's replace the eagle.
Oh,
with
the
beaver.
the place I gotta appraise is right back there. We just passed it. We're stopping there on the way up.
You can Uber.
Yeah. Should we walk in and interview someone? What do you think about Iran? Ask this guy. He needs a stretch machine.
Want me to click the record again?
Click the pause button. That's perfect time to record.
Alright, I think we're back on. Yeah, it's going again.
Back. All right. Just got back from Buc-ee's.
Has that been recording the whole time?
Yeah. So it saw me sniff my armpit to make sure it wasn't me that smelled. It was the clubs for the video. I was like, what's that sniff? Or what's that smell?
It was when we were swinging in the backyard. We hit some poop.
Some fresh air.
Sheesh. What is the meal that you're craving when we get there?
You know, I've been eating good this week, so I want something nutritious. I've had a few people say recently, like, man, have you lost a little bit of weight? It's like, indeed I have. So
It's a good compliment.
keep the momentum going. Because you also feel...
You don't want a loaded nacho plate?
No. Because, listen, we're playing golf tomorrow. We're going to be drinking tomorrow. It's going to be a long day. The last thing I want to do to push myself further in the hole is to have a meal that just doesn't sit well with me. And you're on hole number 3, and you're, like, about to shit yourself.
Yeah, are we drinking on the course tomorrow?
I mean, it's going to be early.
Yeah, what time's our tea time?
I think 7:30.
That's early bird tea time.
Early though.
Are we gonna do that that drinking challenge?
You don't even drink, though.
18 holes, 18 beers?
18 holes, 18 beers.
Yeah,
doesn't even burn.
I don't even
I
burn,
don't
man.
think I could do that. I would be so fucked up after...
But it's a scramble. It's
Wait,
a scramble.
what? So what are the... Yeah, you gotta explain the
So
rules
it's
again.
the 18 based off of the Bob Does Sports, which is one of my favorite golf channels.
Yeah,
out
I
there.
put you onto them.
Did you?
Oh yeah, I was watching them way before you, buddy.
I was kind of watching a lot of
Anyways.
Good,
Yeah, weird flex, but... Go ahead.
Good, and then Grant Horvat. And then I got
I'm off Good and Grant.
I'm not off. Yeah,
Too corny.
Good is boring. I don't like Bubby. He's like a horrible golfer.
He's not that bad. Y'all are pretty similar golfers.
I would
Hit it as far as you can and either goes really
but
far
he-
right or really far left.
All right. Yeah. When have you beaten me in golf ever? Yeah. Yeah. Jack's trying to.
Yeah,
So in
let's-
division.
Let's focus, Ben.
For our game tomorrow.
We're just it's two alphas on the same team. You're gonna have some
Yeah.
debate.
So the way that it works, it's a 18 hole, 18 drinks. So it's a scramble, meaning you take the best ball and everyone's playing together. If you par a hole, you only have to drink, a drink that hole. If you birdie, you get to take off a hole. If you bogey, you got to double up. So you start the tee, like you're on the tee box, and it's like, all right, we're cracking open drink number 1. If you par that hole, you have to finish the drink before you tee off on number 2.
Oh.
But if you birdie it, you don't have to drink that hole. But if you bogey, it's like, all right, you're going to have to get 2 in before. But the odds of bogeying with a scramble is pretty low. You're more likely to birdie probably than you are bogey.
I don't
Disagree
know.
with that,
I feel
bro.
like we are usually
That's
teetering
25
around bogey
drinks.
par.
But we've never done like a 3 or 4
I mean, I like
before.
this. I like this challenge. I like the stakes. I don't
sounds
think
fun.
I could drink 18 beers. It'd have to be like a White Claw or something that could.
Well, it's like you want to try to be 8 under, like 6 to 8 under.
When have we ever been 6 or 8 under?
But that's what I'm saying.
Or
We've
when
never
have-
done a
yeah,
4-man scramble.
Oh, it's a 4-man scramble.
So having the 2 other people is going to help the score.
Correct.
I could.
Will it,
I could be
though?
down for that.
It will, because if, the more shots you have, it's like, okay, yeah, someone's going to get us in the tee. If Jack rips his drive and he's middle of the fairway, it's like, okay, then the next people can be a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, I like that.
It's like-
that actually would be really fun.
Yeah, you're not going to, if you drank every hole, then that means you played some bad golf. And you're going to be punished for that.
You have to drink 1 for par, though, right? You have to drink 1 for par?
Yeah, but you can, each hole, you finish a round of 18 with a cart in 4 hours. So it's a 20-minute drink.
Done some math on this.
Yeah,
So
I'm
who's
down
the
to
other
do
2?
it.
Or who's the other one?
I don't know. We could do like Ryan when he's not hungover. And
Oh, you don't want to. You don't
someone
want to do
else.
this tomorrow? Oh, I thought that's what we were talking about for tomorrow. I was kind of excited, but.
I don't know if Jay would do that.
Oh yeah, yeah,
We would need to do it at a local course,
yeah.
a
Like Arlington.
BYOB course. We need to have some coolers because that's a lot of drinks if you got 4 people.
Shit, yeah.
How much? Yeah, we would need we would need a lot of booze.
80 beers?
Yeah, but
72.
we'd only want 40
Yeah,
beers.
the odds that you drink all 72. Well, shit, you might have to bring. Anyways, might have to bring more.
I might do a little, I'll finish this one. Pours it out. You're not looking?
Yeah, you're a pussy.
No, that's then you're gonna drink another one.
Yeah.
Force feed it, funnel it.
Okay.
But
Oh, that
Butt
took a
chug.
turn.
Things are going my way.
Whatever happened to the old, you lose the hole, you shotgun a beer?
lose a hole, you shotgun it.
We're kind of going nuclear on the drinking.
Yeah, I don't like shotgunning.
Yeah, I'm kind of.
That's
off
like a
that
horrible
now.
way to drink. I would rather sip my beer.
That has to be
than
like
shotgunning.
shotgunning a beer. You have to be fucked up,
Yeah.
or at least me.
Not at a
If I'm doing that nowadays. When's the last time you guys shotgun a beer?
The last time we played golf.
Yeah, Jack did whatever. Me and you played at where were we at? That was Pecan Valley during the storm.
Yeah, that was before we got hailed on. Broke my kneecap.
No, you were. I was deflecting it.
One got through and hit me around the knee.
Yeah, I've never been in a hailstorm like that before. That was pretty wild.
Pretty intense.
So
My last time was on a golf course as well.
it wasn't bad when it was raining, but then I thought it would pass. We couldn't really track the storm, which way direction it was going. But let's go back to our 1v1 match, Ben. What'd you like from my game and why?
When did we play 1v1?
Remember for Craig's Clubs?
Whoa, I was in that too.
I thought that was when it was Austin.
Yeah, it was me and
No.
it was me and you, Jack. And we sold on the 18th green.
No, that's right.
Yeah,
What-
okay, trying to make it about you. All right, we'll see tomorrow. We will see.
What do you think you're going to shoot?
Individually or me and Ben?
Well, how are we doing it?
I think a 2v2 scramble is probably our best bet. It's just the most fun.
I like that.
Like a 2v2 stroke play.
Yeah, you can do 2v2 best ball or best score.
It's
So-
like we could each finish our balls, and it's like,
Yeah.
me and Cal's collective score versus you and Jay's collective score.
No.
Or it's 2v2, you play your own ball, but you just take, so say Ben gets a par and I get a triple bogey, we'll take Ben's par, and then you and Jay, if you shoot a par, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, you play your own ball.
Play
but
the best
whoever
score.
has the best score out of the two is what you take.
I would like to do a scramble. I feel like those are more fun.
Yeah, it's more competitive.
But we'll see what Jay thinks. I haven't seen Jay in a while.
Yeah. I haven't seen him since his wedding. Is it gonna rain?
It just looks dark out.
There was like a flood warning that popped up on your maps a few times.
Yeah, I know, I saw that.
So I booked the studio for podcast with Calvin.
Really?
Yeah. Cal, what questions would you want to get answered talking to a Marine officer in the Marines?
Oh yeah, there is some storms. Say that again?
We're talking with Calvin Fernandez, a Marine, who's an officer in the Marines. What do you think we should ask him?
I would ask him, you know, what got you into the military? What was is it called basic training when you're trying to get in, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so.
What was that like? You know, what your role is in the military now? What's the craziest thing you've done? What are some misconceptions maybe about the military that the
True.
civilians have but aren't necessarily true? Some stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one. The guy, I booked the thing on the app, and he's like, "Hey, what's your phone number?" And he texted me. He's like, "Hey, let's just go through us directly, so we don't get any of the fees from the app."
Oh, nice.
So I wonder what the rate's going to be with that. And should be pretty good. It would be cool to have like a setup like that. That would just be so convenient.
Yeah.
Just to go in there, and lighting's great, quality's great, because it just looks so much better.
It's just
You know
more
what I'm saying?
professional.
Yeah. I'm not sitting in the middle, though.
You don't like the car?
I wonder how this one's going to look. All right, I'll be in the middle this time.
Yeah, sitting in the middle, you have to like keep turning each way, and yeah, that can get annoying.
Where every puff is premium.
How many vape locations are there in the world? Google that. ChatGPT that. How many vape stores exist in the United States? I'm gonna guess
Over 1 million.
over 1 million. 1 million vape stores? That makes no sense.
I don't
I'm gonna
fucking
say,
know.
like-
Maybe 100,000.
Yeah, I'm gonna go
Approximately.
87,000.
It says approximately 10,591.
Really? That's not as many as I thought.
How many McDonald's are there?
10,591 vape shops. Estimated e-cigarette shops operating in the United States. A 18% increase since 2022.
Okay, now do how many gyms are there in the United States? Gym/fitness centers.
Okay. Oh, wow. So it says there's 114,370 fitness clubs/gyms in 2024.
So a 10-to-1 ratio for every one vape store, there's 10 gyms. You said there were storms.
Yeah.
Where?
In the woodlands right now.
Can't have a storm.
I looked at the weather before I left. It said it was clear.
That's what the radar's looking like.
Oh, where is it? What direction is it flowing?
Looks like it's moving north barely. It's kind of staying right there.
So we'll drive through it.
Yeah.
Probably.
Storm.
I mean, you can tell just by looking ahead.
Yeah, but it's also getting dark naturally.
7:30.
That's true.
All right. I think we've been going for how long? Probably 2 hours, something like that.
2.5 hours.
Hopefully this was a good episode. We kind of hit a groove, and then I think we all are tired and hungry, so we'll wrap it up. Any final words?
Love is in the air this weekend.
Cal, you want to wrap it up?
Nope.
Okay. JOJ Podcast episode 59.
Man, that's a prison over there.
Let's go. Next podcast is going to be a really good one. Calvin Fernandez. Let's go, man. You want to hit that button?
The record button?